Welcome back to the Stockwell Eldridge Show. I'm Jason Stockwell.
And I'm Dawn Eldridge.
We have Stephanie Havel with Wells Fargo.
Good morning.
Don Doty with Home Place Inspection.
Hello.
Hello. And Allison Krause, who's the owner of her own insurance company, Shoreline Insurance Group. So we're finally to you, Allison. Sorry, we all love to talk so much that Allison's sitting so patiently, quietly.
I know.
Sitting over there.
Great information. So.
She's taking it all in.
Yes, I am.
So first, I do want to put a little plug out. If you are a realtor, if you know a realtor or someone who's looking for leadership, mentorship, leads, clients, and things like that, or they're maybe struggling and where they're at, Dawn and I are looking for individuals to join our group, join our team, the group in the loop, to start working with us to sell houses and handle some of the clients that we have and all the other and work with us, and you'll have leadership, mentorship, and leads. So if you ever want to reach out to us for a private, confidential conversation or a meeting, I got to put that out there because we definitely could use some help with that arena as well. So, Allison, welcome again.
Thank you very much.
Let us share us a little bit about yourself, what you do,
Sure.
what got you into the business,
Okay.
all that sort of stuff.
All right. So I've been selling health insurance for a little over 12 years. I started Shoreline Insurance Group, which is my agency, 2014. So we're going on 4 years now. And health insurance is really our bread and butter. So whether it's individual, family, small group, or Medicare, we work with every carrier in the state of Minnesota. So we can work anywhere in Minnesota, but that's pretty much it. And yeah, it's kind of like a moving target right now.
So you hear about this on the news all the time, folks. You read about it. It's all Obamacare, Trump, healthcare, Minnesota. What was the one we had? That they did MNsure,
MNsure,
and all the corruption that happened there, and all the mess that was created, and then the prices have skyrocketed. My personal insurance, our family insurance, has doubled more than doubled in the last 3 years. I believe we're at $1,200 a month.
Wow.
For a basic, really not a good plan, frankly. It's just a high deductible and it's not good, but we have to do it, right? Self-employed. So what's going on with that? I mean, on the politics end, is it going to be wiped out? Or Obamacare and what's happening?
I honestly no. I don't think that it's going to go away. So I think everybody would agree that it's great that you can get health insurance regardless of a health condition. So everybody should be entitled to a health plan, right? And that's part of the ACA is saying that we're going to allow anybody, regardless of health conditions, to get on a health plan, and we're not going to have a pre-existing limitation. But with that, there is all kinds of mandates put on insurance carriers of what needs to be covered, and ultimately, within the individual family marketplace, it actually only holds about 5% of all of Minnesotans with insurance. So that's a lot of burden to place on a very small pocket of people,
So do you work with more like individuals or like smaller businesses? I mean, so if I was an individual, maybe say, I guess maybe a realtor or like an independent contractor, and I didn't have insurance.
Right. So anybody who is not offered benefits through their employer, or perhaps those employer benefits are more expensive than what they could do on their own, that's where we come in, is help them navigate the private options. And then this year, in 2017, we saw a huge change in the marketplace. So you kind of touched on it, but...
What was the price increase, or what are you talking about?
Well, not just price increases, but that average increase was about 50 to 67% for individuals.
Yeah.
But also we have fewer options to choose from, and every carrier has moved to a very small, narrow network of providers. So it's not what we used to see, on the individual family, where somebody who is self-employed could essentially buy the same type of program that they would be offered through an employer. And honestly, it's always been less expensive on the individual family market, which people are surprised. But
so what caused it? Was there
because
a reason
went
that
down
the cause
to
for this
so few
large
carriers?
increase?
Because it's guaranteed issue. It's guaranteed issue.
Because they got rid of so for Jason's example, his family went up because no more longer pre-existing conditions, they can't hold that against you?
And what a lot of people don't realize, unless you've been in the individual market, but in Minnesota we had what's called MCHA, Minnesota Comprehensive Health association. So it was a high-risk pool. And it was where people could go to acquire a health plan if they had a health condition that they weren't able to get approved within Blue Cross Medical or the private market. But with the ACA, MCHA was shut down. So all those people flooded into the same risk pool as everybody else.
Okay.
You know, so kind of...
And they're higher risk, more expensive, and therefore everybody
Yep.
then had to
Yep.
suffer
So
the
for a
cost.
long time, and so I've been doing this for 12 years, and a lot of my clients, although they're individual family policies, they're business owners, you know, and it was more affordable for them to go out into the private market and purchase a plan rather than to establish a small group plan under their business.
Yeah.
For the first time in 2017, things have changed, and now the small group market is actually more attractive, not just in cost, but prior to the Minnesota subsidy getting passed, premium relief subsidy bill that just passed a couple weeks ago, which is offering a 25% rebate to anybody who's not qualified for other federal subsidies, but they have an individual health plan. So that's going to happen automatically to anybody who's sitting on a private health plan for 2017.
Okay.
But prior to that, you know, the small group market was easily 30% less than an individual rate. Plus, we still have open access plans. We have a lot more options to choose from. So we, over open enrollment, which is now closed, but we had a lot of small business owners move from the individual family marketplace over to a small group, which is actually still doable. So I have a lot of business owners now, and we still reach out to our clients because we know them. But there's still time because small group operates on a different timetable. You can actually set up a small group plan at any point during the year. So if you own a business, it's worth talking to your agent or calling me, and we can look at other options. But yeah, seems like every year, you know, you have to be vigilant. You just can't get cozy with your health plan.
We've
or your health carrier.
we've had to switch every year for the last 3 or 4 years
Yep.
to a different provider because one will say we no longer allow that anymore, or their rates are they skyrocketed
Right.
on if we stay
So in order
with.
to keep it at an affordable
So I think
rate,
we were at
yeah.
Blue Cross, then we had to go to somewhere else, a health partner. I don't know.
Partners,
We're
yeah.
switching around so
Yeah,
much.
that's
I'm
what
like,
happened to my brother too.
why are we
all
changing so
different.
much? And then I talked to my employees. I have just 3 employees, and they said ever since, and this was staggering to me, and you know I don't know if they'll listen to this or not, but when Obamacare went into place, they no longer have insurance.
Right.
They're the ones who got affected. The people that should be able to get insurance.
Right.
They're not in the pool of people that got it automatically,
Right.
but they make a normal income or whatever, and then they're the ones who get hammered on this whole deal. And they said, I just haven't had insurance. I'm like,
Right.
what?
Yep.
So then I looked at these group policies, but there were so many hoops on these group things because of someone I don't know. There's so many rules on it, so I was very
There are
confusing.
different rules,
so.
and every carrier is different. So depending on the business owner and how they're set up as an entity, and if they have other employees, if they have partners.
And then there's a certain percentage of people that have to do it. And if someone doesn't, then it affects so you definitely need to reach out to Allison if you are a small business owner or an individual, because the group plan would have been better, but because of the dynamics of the employees,
Yeah.
we didn't meet the percentage or something like.
Participation.
Yes.
There's participation rules. However, between November 15th and December 15th, they waived that. So for small business owners that do want to offer a benefit, you could come in. There's a small group open enrollment period that would waive participation rules and the employer contribution. So this was a year where, you know, business owners could, you know,
So I must
essentially
have missed
establish-
that because I thought the deadline was
Unfortunately, yes.
October or something, or I was trying to get everything done before the deadline of whenever it was. I don't know, right? I mean,
Right.
it's so
Call
out of my-
Allison at 952-492.
Yes.
5013.
Sorry, I didn't
We
have my
need to call
glasses on.
Well,
There you go.
and
Say
just
your
know
phone number
it's-
again,
it's-
Allison.
And you know what?
95
You're trying to go out and sell houses, or you're trying to do your business.
Yeah.
And no, this is something that's important, but trying to understand it and even figure out, and even the people we're talking to, I don't know if they knew everything about what was going on and how to do it. You know what I mean?
I mean, this is because there's so much change. There's people who have done health insurance and just said, you know what, it's not worth my time. If you don't do it every day, day in and day out, and you guys would probably say the same thing, it's not worth your time, you know? So, but this is all we do, you know, is health insurance. We farm out everything else. I don't claim to know anything about real estate or mortgages.
We do. We talk
I know
about
my
that all
stuff.
the time on the show, and that's why it's so great that, you know, you hear and you talk about that because, you know, like Don, like you said, how many years? I mean, I'm just thinking, why would you ever call anybody else but Don? You know what I mean? For a home inspection, I get so much information, and same thing with you guys. And I feel strongly about my team at Wells Fargo. That's all we do. And so, and I'm sorry we cut you off, but what is your phone number again, Allison?
952-492-5013.
And your website is?
The website is shorelineinsuranceGroup.com.
So Shoreline just.
We'll have this on our Facebook page as well, folks. So if you go on Facebook, you can find it under the Stockwell Eldridge Show and tcrealestatehour.com.
And I actually personally use Allison. I switched over to her this year. I was referred to her by my car and home insurance guy. I'm like, hey, do you do health insurance? Because my rates are almost double what they were. And he referred me to her, and I'm so thankful. So thankful. She is saving me $400 a month.
Well, and like you
Because
said,
you
just gave a great
right?
example.
The small group.
You're not dabbling in car insurance
you in a
and home
small group
insurance
then?
and
I am. I'm an
everything
LLC.
else.
So what you don't.
So you can do small group, yeah.
Yeah, so one
LLC,
misconception
yes.
is you don't have to have employees necessarily to start a small group plan.
Oh,
So there's
wow.
a couple carriers that will do an owner's only policy when that one participant is the owner. But most of them would say you have to have an LLC or a corporation or, you know.
This reminds me of
Business
people that
entity.
want to sell their own house. Why would you ever want to sell your own
Right.
house when you have experts that know what they're doing? There's so many different nuances and different things. Same thing with insurance. You could probably go online to whatever it's called and get insurance.
Right.
Yeah.
But you don't. It's thousands and thousands
download
of pages.
a home inspection kit or download a kit or online mortgage.
One thing about health insurance too is we're paid by the insurance carrier, so you can use us or you can do it all on your own. It's going to cost the same, so you might as well bring in an expert.
So you don't even have a commission like we do.
No.
Wow.
Right.
Well,
I mean,
there you go.
we don't work for free, but it's not going to come out of your pocket. You're going to pay the same.
Nice.
So,
That's really good to know.
Well, we're going to learn more from Allison when we return.
Predictions.
Yeah.
Claire,